Watching the journey this game's gone through, from a funny meme to a full-on game that not only appeals to fans of Bloodborne, with fan-favorite characters, locations, with names, tweaks, and designs altered just slightly enough to avoid the wrath of Sony's lawyers without losing their clear inspiration, but also being a solid kart racer while impressively being able to transition several key mechanics from Bloodborne that makes it distinct from other games in the genre. The most obvious mechanic is that you have health and stamina. In games like Mario Kart and I guess Garfield Kart, you can take as many hits that get thrown your way, with the consequences being a 2 to 3 second stun, which will allow other racers to overtake you. Nightmare Kart, on the other hand, lets you alleviate this stun by boosting that, outside of specific circumstances, will allow you to recover all of your speed and maintain your position. This is balanced out by having death be super punishing, not only causing a massive stun due to having to wait several seconds till you respawn, easily allowing any racer to overtake you, but you also drop all of your blood droplets, which importance I'll explain in a minute. On the topic of boosting, I find its implementation rather unique, as not only can you boost at any time, but it's tied to two resources: Aether Vials and Stamina. Aether Vials are the more important resource, as you need 5 vials for one boost. You can get Aether Vials from power-ups sprinkled around the track, although you'll more likely get them from performing grifts, power breaks, and tricks after you do a jump. These actions also give you free boosts either from a certain period of time with drifts and power breaking, or upon successful completion with jump tricks, incentivizing them outside of farming for Aether Vials. Stamina, on the other hand, is required for most actions in the game. Attacking an enemy, you need stamina. Drifting, power breaking, stamina. Boosting, I hope you got stamina. Of course, just like in Bloodborne, stamina refills really quickly, but its limitations mean you can't spam more than 2 boosts, for instance. There's one mechanic the game doesn't really tell you about, which is visceral boosting. Shooting an enemy while they are drifting or power breaking will apply a stun they can't boost out of. During the stun, you can boost into them, locking into them for around a second, dealing quite a bit of damage, and then continuing the boost. Looping back around to blood droplets, they are this game's equivalent to Bloodborne's blood echoes. While in Bloodborne, blood echoes are used to purchase levels to increase your stats, blood droplets are collectibles that will increase your maximum speed upon collection. This means someone with a maximum 1000 blood droplets has a huge advantage over someone who has none, not just because of the increase in speed, but also due to having stronger boosts, as boosts are dependent on your maximum speed. You can get blood droplets from either picking them up from power-ups, or more likely from killing the random enemies scattered around the track. For the smaller enemies, if you're fast enough, you can just run right through them, although for enemies like the werewolves and trolls, they're a bit too big, requiring one of these several weapons to take them down. The 3 most common weapons available are the Hunter's Pistol, the Hunter's Lever Action Shotgun, and a variety of melee weapons you select before the match. The Hunter Pistol is a solid mid-range tool, being able to one-shot all small enemies. It's also the best tool for stunning racers, as its range and accuracy will allow you to overtake anyone ahead or even defend your own position. The Hunter's Lever Action Shotgun is the complete opposite to the pistol, sacrificing range for higher raw damage. I find the shotgun works best in the 2 boss fights that let you use it, and during the several free battle modes, since they allow you to get close to your enemies as possible to secure the kill, without having to worry about throwing a race. The last of the main weapons are a variety of melee weapons you can select for each match. I don't really have anything specific to say about each weapon, as they're fairly similar, with the only difference being the amount of damage each weapon does, and how much stamina each attack costs. I find these to be the worst of the 3 due to them only being really good at overtaking a racer ahead of you due to the necessity of its boost. See, once you're in range to lock on, your car will do a shorter boost so that you can actually hit the enemy. However, you will always boost, meaning if you attack someone behind you, you'll turn around and boost straight backwards, definitely giving up your spot to everyone behind you. Even attacking someone to your side isn't a great idea, as you'll probably just boost it to a wall, which will slow you down and let others overtake you. It's also a little weird when killing the random monsters, as sometimes you get caught in a lingering hitbox, which of course slows you down. It is good in the boss fights and free battles, but so is the shotgun. I understand why the melee weapons were included. Bloodborne is a melee focused game and the weapons are quite iconic. I just wish the melee weapons weren't so situational and detrimental outside of that specific situation. The other power-ups include a health transfer, which works as a heal, but a cool thing is that the heal will give you some invulnerability frames, which can be amazing as this game does have some unavoidable damage. The super chain wheels will give you 3 seconds of constant boost, and if you run into anyone, you'll stick to them for half a second, dealing quite a bit of damage before boosting off. The Molotov mine is rather straightforward. When used, the mine will be placed, blowing up anyone within a small radius of it. A great defensive tool and works wonderfully at tight corners. Galaxy End works as this game's blue shell, spawning right on top of whoever is in first place, dealing quite a bit of damage, but more importantly, a stun that you can't boost out of. This makes it extremely painful during close games as you can't quickly recover, losing the coveted first place position. The only way to avoid Galaxy End is through iframes, either from taking damage or healing. The Gatling gun trades damage for fire rate. Giving 40 shots, while weaker than even the pistol, can be fired out faster than your average Celestial Emissary fight. However, it can only fire forward, so while mean in the back of the pack isn't very useful when first. On battle maps, you can find guaranteed Gatling gun spawns where it's a lot stronger. The final power-up is the Hunter's Rifle, which is a battle match only rifle for a good reason. It's a sniper rifle when upon use scopes you in, and you need to use WASD keys to aim, which is as awkward as it sounds. If you do manage to land a shot, it's a one-hit kill, although there's definitely easier means. Like the Gatling gun, each battle map has a guaranteed hunter rifle spawn, so it's at least not hard to find. The game is separated into 2 modes, a campaign which follows a similar but legally distinct story as Bloodborne, and a free-play mode which you can select whatever map and character you want to play with. Completing each level in the campaign unlocks something in free play. The game starts with you picking a name and voice, followed by a simple tutorial. The game truly begins with the hunter waking up in a misty dream and meets Herman and Onetta, who tell you not to worry about anything and just win a few races. This leads to the first track, the Pocket Dream Circuit, a simple oval racetrack with a couple small ramps to spice things up. There is a shortcut right in front of the first ramp that the AI never seemed to take, so it can help you recover. Overall though, this is a fairly basic beginner-friendly map, even having 4 racers compared to the usual, and that's supposed to help ease you into the rest of the game. Returning back to Marilodia, we meet Window Guy, who warns us of the ongoing hunt. This leads to the next track, Marilodia Expressway, which is this game's version of Central Yarnum. The race is now full with 3 fodder enemies, bringing the count to 8. The race begins with a tunnel which is divided into 2 lanes with rats and skeletons scattered about for some early blood droplets. The tunnel ends with 2 different exits, one on the left and one on the right. Honestly, the left exit is far better as well, they both have a boost at the end. The left exit takes you up, so there's a jump at the end which is far easier to do a follow-up trick for an additional boost, which the right exit lacks. It's also easier to combine boosts with the next section's ramps. Do be careful of the troll as you can get stuck on him. From here it's a simple drift around the fountain, right through the section of ramps, and watch out for a hard right turn. Honestly, probably better to just fly straight at the wall than to do a hard turn. Make sure to watch out for the werewolves as they can block the road quite well, and it takes quite a bit to kill them. However, it's mostly smooth sailing from here, a couple turns, a jump to spice things up, and the final bit of some cages at the edges you can get caught on if you play it tight, along with one in the middle with a dog just chilling out. Once you approach the end of the first lap, the Cleric Beast will jump onto the track. Cleric Beast will usually roam around this area of the track, and while he can do quite a bit of damage, really the main worry is getting stuck on him due to his size. Oddly, you can attack the Cleric Beast, but you can't kill him, nor does the damage seem to do anything. In the next level, Marilodia Sewers is the game's first battle, with the mode being a team bloodbath, a 4v4 team deathmatch whichever team reaches 10 kills or has the most kills when the timer ends, winning the battle. If the teams are tied when the time ends, the game enters sudden death, where everyone is a one-shot and the team that reaches 10 kills first wins. The map is alright, the 2 halves providing enough space to fight it out while still somewhat organizing the chaos. and reassess the situation while also providing a space for the special powers to be out of the way, forcing you to go out of your way for them. Level 4 Angel's Graveyard is specialized as the first boss level in the game. The level begins with us chasing after Father Grigori, following through the latter half of Central Yarnum, including the Flaming Boulder Bridge, retooled as a level hazard. Eventually, Father Grigori traps us in his boss room. The fight itself isn't that much different from every other fight, it's just that Grigori has a much bigger health bar. Once you knock off about 3/4 of his health, Grigori will crash and become his final, most terrifying form, a furry. In this form, Grigori has a Gatling gun, which, while easy to dodge, will obliterate your health bar if you're not careful. Along with a jumping and several melee attacks, he can be quite dangerous. A Gatling gun of your own does spawn at this point, so you can give Grigori a taste of his own medicine. The next level, Forbidden Forest, is based on Bloodborne's Forbidden Forest. And I can see some of these lawyers see anything about that one. The first unique part about this track is that for the first lap there's a log trap basically at the start, which will probably stun at least the first 3 bot racers. The next big thing is a drop that leads down to a donut, which is pretty self-explanatory. Next area is the tower, which has 2 sharp turns back to back. Honestly, probably the sharpest turns you'll have to make in the game. The last main area is a cool section where you use jump boosts to get to several platforms. The last one meant to throw you off by being L-shaped unlike the rest. Bloodborne's Shadows of Yarnum have been replaced by these 3 snake sisters. Which honestly, if this game was more popular, would probably get the Vicar Amelia treatment. And if you don't know what that means, this is what she looks like, so you can probably guess. Levels mode is hunt down the insight, where the goal is to collect said insight from the middle and take it back to your base. Honestly, this is either a complete cakewalk where you rush the 5 necessary insights to win, or complete hell as 2 of the sisters bully you while the 3rd rushes the insight to their base. This is in part due to the fact that you can't carry any weapons when you hold the insight, so if one of the sisters is at your base, all you can do is dodge and weave, hoping she doesn't hit you. You can't throw the insight, however, unless you're right next to an item pickup. You might as well just hand the insight over. The gained insight grants us access to the clock tower, where we find a pretty neato sword. Mistress Marie doesn't like us looking at her prized possession and so wants to kill us. Of course, instead of using said sword, Mrs. Marie will kill us in a race. Really, I just think she wants to flex her sick as hell clock car. Or is a clock unicycle technically. Either way, it's sweet. Level design is really cool as for most of the race you're ascending the tower. I find this level to be very drift heavy due to its spiral nature and the turns not being as sharp as say the Forbidden Woods, making power braking unnecessary. There is a shocking lack of enemies in this level besides the couple wastes of skin wandering around, and even then they only give 23 blood droplets each. Somewhat heavy, you got a lucky blood droplets from an item, they'd be impossible to catch up unless they ran into a Molotov, or you were already close enough to shoot them. We meet Raven, this game's version of Eileen, who offers to guide us back to Miralodia, however the beast blocked the path to the entrance. So Raven gives us the Noble Pistol. The Noble Pistol is identical to the standard pistol except it takes Aether as ammunition. This does make it a straight upgrade to the Hunter Pistol due to having more ammo reserve and a far easier method to restore said reserves. This is probably why it's reserved to this level. The level itself, Angel Arena, is fairly basic with no specific items in the way due to the Noble Pistol. A lot of room to drift around, but it's fairly basic compared to other TDM levels. Once we finally get back to Miralodia, it seems that beasts are misbehaving more than before, so it's time to have a proper hunt. The goal is simple, get 4K blood droplets for the other team. I really enjoy this game mode managing to give the feel of a frantic hunt without overstaying its welcome. Added in the easy access to chipper chain wheels and the hunter's rifle, and you can have a fun time bullying the enemy and stealing their lunch money. Our dear friend decides to visit his old friend Window Man, but turns out he's succumbed to beasthood. This sets up the most interesting map, the Outsider's Mansion. This is the smallest map in the game, requiring 6 laps to finish instead of the standard 3. This gives it a chaotic feel as you're all clenched up, forcing insane reaction. And the fact that this map has the most turns compared to other maps, and while they're not the sharpest, their back-to-back nature demands your attention, giving openings to enemy drivers. Even first place is free from the chaos, as more times than not you'll be dueling the last place driver, which honestly is kind of mean, kicking the poor guy while he's down. Now for the moment we've all been waiting for, the man, the myth, the legend, Nicholas reborn into his final form, Nicholas, host of the nightmare. Of course, Nicholas is above the limitations of karts, putting Usain Bolt to shame by just outrunning everyone. Just like Michelangelo needs to lead Nicholas to a specific room, they'll lock you two together in a good old-fashioned cage fight. I find this a lot easier to figure out compared to Bloodborne's Michelangelo boss fight, due to Nicholas' arena being a lot smaller. The boss himself isn't anything new, having the same AI as any other racer, but with just a bigger health bar. I say he might be harder than Father Grigori due to the smaller room, but it's not that big of a difference. Once you get him to half health, he teleports off and you have to go find him. When you do, you'll chase him around until he runs to a teleporting mirror, in which you'll have to go to this room on the right, which has you right above Nicholas. Too bad you can't choose him with poison knives like you can in Bloodborne. After beating him up in the second room, you have to go through a teleporting mirror to chase Nicholas, so what I can best describe is a dark void with platforms being suspended to nowhere. Quite nightmarish indeed. This section isn't too hard, as all you need to do is follow Nicholas while he spouts the riddles which will lead to the secret ending to the game. If I'm being honest, knowing how to access the secret ending, I would have never solved the riddle. I don't know if that's a telling of it being too cryptic or I'm just that bad at riddles. There's one jump in this section that, just maybe due to a map oversight, is really inconsistent to make. Sometimes you make it just fine, sometimes you just barely miss it. Boosting does seem to consistently make the jump, but it's still weird nonetheless. In the last section, Nicholas will be jumping through a bunch of magic mirrors and you'll be given the noble pistol. Don't worry about hitting him midair, this section will repeat itself from the beginning. For those trying to complete this game, Nicholas' speech is a minute, so keep that in mind when you try to get that sub 4-minute run. After beating up Nicholas, we return to the Hunter's Dream seeking answers, but everyone is here preparing for one last race. I find the Hunter's Dream course to be one of the hardest tracks to recover in due to how straight it is. The entire track only has 2 jumps, and while there aren't any tight turns, it's rather difficult to get a proper boost off the turns that the course does have. Add in early item pickups and you'll have a very chaotic start that can burn through your early Aether Vials, and it'll be a real struggle to regain them. Otherwise, this map is a bit boring, not having anything to differentiate itself from any other level. With the race over, the hunter demands answers from Herman, but Herman's like, hey, why not we have one last hunt to camp off tonight? Everyone's here. Here we are, free for all against every character we've met, friend or foe, with clear exclusion of Onetta watching from the background. I find this a fun little send-off, getting to see all the characters together, and it's also fun to see who's the last one standing. With that, we learn that everything was created to come in contact with angels, this game's version of the old ones. The game gives us a choice to submit our lives or to refuse. Submitting lets us wake up from the dream, seeing a sunrise, and then seemingly run over by someone. Refusing shows the dull, lifeless, as Merilodia descends on the hunter. Powerless to the angel's might, we become a simple pawn, replacing Herman and continuing the dream. Of course, just like Bloodborne, there's a secret third ending. You have to find 3 moon fragments. One can be found in the corner during Father Grigori's fight. Second can be found in the Forbidden Forest area, and it's not really out of bounds area, kind of inaccessible area. Last one can be found in this out of the way room before we go to Nicholas's second fight room. Now you can acquire the same sword from Mistress Marie, which you'll use for a pretty tough platforming section. You really need to watch out near the end as platforms lose their hand railings, which makes it easier to fall off. When you do finally reach Merilodia, you hop through a portal to a wide field with a large tree in the middle. Merilodia descends down and sits in a comically small truck. We lift our blades to the sky, the moonlight fragments coming together, forming my guiding moonlight. The moonlight greatsword is similar to the noble's pistol, with Aether being the source of its power. With only a drift you can charge the blade, unleashing a familiar moonlight presence at Merilodia. About halfway through the fight, Merilodia dips out and the cleric just shows up and holy shit, he has a gun. Max to fight Cleric Beast as he tries to put you in his quick scoping montage. Cleric Beast once more is immortal, with any hits on him not actually lowering the health bar, but you still need to hit him a few times for Miralodia to come back into the fight. When he does, Miralodia dive bombs in the ground, dealing massive damage if it hits you, or flying back in the air. You have a pretty limited window to deal damage. Eventually you'll deal enough damage to stun him, a quick boost, and you'll drive your cart straight into his face, cutting the damn thing in half. With that, you send the Squid Hood to be worshipped by the Dream Watchers. I don't know. Compared to chilling with a doll in Bloodborne, this does seem like a bit of a downgrade. There's still a few things you can unlock. Being Miralodia with 40 insight unlocks Baby Murgo. And lets you play as a squid when you pick the stroller as the hunter. Being Miralodia in under 4 minutes unlock his trucks and lets you play as him in free play. Free play also holds one unique map that can't be played during the campaign. The Miralodia sewer track. Honestly, it's a bit of a shame this level is locked away in free play, as it's one of the most interesting maps to play on. The track has 2 layers you can race on, the upper raptors and the sewer itself. The sewer is filled with ramps for easy aether acquisition. Turns out allow easy drifts, and is overall very box standard course. The real fun's the top, but tight space barely fitting one cart. Multiple boosts which can shoot you ahead or drop you from the raptors, and insanely tight turns that power break is basically required for them. The mixture of these two extremes provide a rather unique racing experience that unfortunately is not part of the main campaign. As much as I'm a fan of this game, there are several glaring issues. Several mechanics just aren't really explained. Sure, using the healing vial for iframes might be some tech experienced players are just supposed to figure out, which hey, that might be what Bunleth intended, but visceral boosting is just never explained. It took me over 20 hours of gameplay to even figure out what causes them. This game has what's best described as a feast of famine gameplay loop. 9 times out of 10, you'll be spending lap 2 and beyond so far in first place that you'll never see any other players, besides the occasional galaxy's ends to remind you of their existence. However, one of the 10 times something does go wrong, you'll be overtaken. Depending on the map, it'll be literally impossible to retake your position, even though you still have 2 more laps to do so. This is especially true for tracks with either very few enemies or a bunch of enemies that just give very few blood droplets. As a lucky blood droplet grab from a bot just gives them an insurmountable advantage. This wouldn't be too bad if multiplayer was available, but currently only split screen co-op is available. I personally haven't tried it for this game, but on other Steam games I've had issues with lag and general screen delay. Like, I understand not having dedicated servers, but at least let us host our own private games. Overall though, I really enjoyed my time with Nightmare Kart, both as a Bloodborne fan and as someone who's enjoyed kart racers. For channel updates, I'm still working on my creature-only run for Fallout 4, so check out my stream if that sounds interesting to you. I also occasionally stream Overwatch with my friend Sharky, who you guys should definitely check out. Once this video is complete, I'll be working on some projects that, while might be longer and late, should hopefully not take as long to make. With that taken care of, all that's left to say is goodbye for now.